United lost, but you know what, guys? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Liverpool and Chelsea lost. I know that's what probably everybody is thinking. But I'm not going to lie. Crystal Palace deserved those 3 points. Genuinely speaking, I think they worked hard for that. And I think the scoreline could have been a lot more in the first half. And I'm not going to lie, when Liverpool scored that equaliser under Chiesa, Liverpool throughout the season and just in recent times have shown they're a team that until the final whistle goes, the game's not done. The game is not done. And at points, maybe Palace felt quite disappointed with themselves in the game, given the chances that they had. We're going to speak about that. And then Nketiah, he pulls it off. He pulls it off. The late winner to get 3 points for Palace. And on the other side of London, Chelsea welcome Brighton. They see themselves get another red card, and Brighton come from a goal down to finish 3-1. Danny Welbeck turning back the clock to get a double. We've got a lot to talk about, so make sure you hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well if you're new here. Let's start with Palace versus Liverpool, because of course Palace beat Liverpool before the season officially started in the Community Shield. And in the first half, I'm not joking, I felt like Palace could have been up 3-4. 4 goals, maybe. Alisson kept them in the game. Some big saves made, but also I think is some weak finishes from Crystal Palace. They have to take those chances. And the free-flowing football that Glasner has them playing is sometimes a joy to watch, despite the fact that I think Liverpool did dominate possession throughout most of the game. Adam Wharton, what a player. He's so good. The guy is so good at controlling the game, dictating the game. And when you're coming up against the midfield of the likes of McAllister, Gravenberch, you've got Soboslai, to look that good just shows, I think, how much of a phenomenal player you are. And they've got a gem on their hands. And not just that, I think Kamada had a good game as well. We're going to talk about Sarr, who gets obviously the opening goal for Crystal Palace. Creating so many chances. And what I realised from Palace and Liverpool today is the way that they were kind of, I don't want to say terrorising, but utilising space against Liverpool and creating space and creating opportunities for themselves was hitting those wide channels and then playing a ball across on the floor. I don't know if that was a tactical decision from Glasner, but they were playing a lot of cut-back passes across the goal. And at Kanate coming off in like the 70th something minute, for me, first half, Kanate had his hands full. And he was struggling. He was drowning, I think, against Mateta. And because I don't think Mateta gets the respect he deserves in the Premier League. When people talk about the best strikers in the Premier League, it's Haaland, it's Isak. And then after that, it's questions over, the other best strikers in the league. But Mateta's up there. He's up there after the Isaks and the Haalands. And funnily enough, talking about Isak, really struggled to hit the ground running today in that game, despite the fact that he got near enough to 84 minutes in the game. Ekitike out with a red card, so really, Slot is going to stick with you as his 9. And I just felt like Liverpool couldn't get the chances running for them, despite the fact they, tried Florian Wirtz in a more different position on the left wing. And again, Florian Wirtz, 100 million plus. And I think yet to impact the games in the Prem that you would expect your 100 million pound signing to do so. I don't know if Liverpool fans might feel the same about that, but I think Florian Wirtz has not... And by the way, this is not me adding to the hate train of Florian Wirtz, because I like Florian Wirtz. I think he's a great player, and I said that coming into, the season. And also, I watched him a lot at Bayer Leverkusen. But the pace of the Prem is different. The games are different. The mid-table teams that you're coming up against in comparison to, in the German league, it's different. When you come up against teams like Palace, like Brighton, they're going to give it to you for 90 minutes. They will absorb as much pressure, and then they will try and hit back. And I think the space that he's given, or the lack of space and the lack of time that he's given on the ball, and I think he overthinks situations. There's a lot of chances I watch when he's at goal, and today it even happened. Comes into the edge of the box, dribbles in, and I'm just like, shoot. Why are you scared to shoot? And he just hesitates, and I think he's overcomplicating his game. Maybe he feels that pressure on his shoulders of the price tag and, how big of a club Liverpool is, and, coming in as defending champions. You have to hit the ground running, and you have to be that troublemaker, create chances and cause trouble for the opponents. And I just think he overthinks things, especially in front of goal. in front of goal, I think Florian Wirtz overthinks things, and he just needs to simplify it. Do what you did. If he does what he did best at Bayer Leverkusen, maybe with a bit more urgency, because the pace and the tempo of the game is different in the Prem, I don't think he would be struggling that much. In terms of Liverpool as a whole, today I think Gravenberch was alright. I think Szoboszlai was good, but I'm really impressed with Wharton. I think Slot tried something different with Florian Wirtz on the left, with Szoboszlai in the 10, Mohamed Salah on the right. Another guy who's also been quite quiet, I think, throughout the beginnings parts of the season, especially in a game like today. I think going away to Palace is not easy. I, as a United fan, can tell you that for free. But when you've got a superstar studded lineup that Liverpool do, in the way that they dominated possession, I would have expected or anticipated that they would create a lot more clear-cut chances. But I think that's also down to how good of a coach Glasner is and the way that he sets Palace up, because like I said, Palace were able to get up and down with urgency, but also with intensity, with consistency, and was able, I think when they conceded that goal, I felt a little bit hard done for them. But also, people are talking about that VAR. I thought it hit Salah's hand. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it hit Salah's hand, and I thought he didn't do anything. I thought his hand was in an unnatural position, and I think he didn't do anything to move his hand out of the way. So I was under the assumption that VAR wouldn't have given that, but they did give that Chiesa goal, and you know, Palace were able to dig deep, but Palace might even feel like they shouldn't have even been in that position where they were conceding an equaliser so late in the game, because of how dominant they were in the first half in front of goal in terms of creating clear-cut chances that Alisson was Liverpool's best player today, because he kept them in the game consistently at times where I felt it could have been 2, it could have been 3, should have been their 4th goal. But Mateta, you know, Sarr, Wharton, etc. Just a phenomenal team. Palace are a phenomenal team, and I think they thoroughly deserve those 3 points, and winning it in that fashion, I think, just makes it a lot more excitable for them. Now, on the flip side, on the other side of London, Chelsea go up a goal thanks to Enzo scoring a header. But this is where it changes for Chelsea, and Trevor Chalobah goes off, and I was watching the game, and the commentators were putting a bit of heavy emphasis on Andre Santos and the kind of heavy touch that he takes, that actually leads to Trevor Chalobah then swiping a guy and causing disruption for Brighton. But I think Brighton had Chelsea's number today. They knew what the press triggers were. They knew when to press, how to press. You got Matoma jumping out at people. You got Minter, who I think was phenomenal throughout the game, getting an assist, but he's jumping out in the press, which leads to one of the goals that they scored. But just particularly that red card and the decisions from the manager that came after that. As soon as that red card came, you know, Santos was hooked. And then the manager, Enzo Maresca, again making questionable subs, because I questioned his subs against Man United last weekend, and I'm questioning his subs again. And maybe the correlating factor here is the in-game management when Chelsea go a man down. That is maybe the correlating factor here, because they go a man down again. This time it's your centre-back, so of course you need to bring on your centre-back, so you need to take someone off. You sacrifice one of your midfielders, but then you take Pedro Neto off, and you take Pedro Neto off for Malo Gusto to put him at right wing, and then you also take off Estevao as well. And you bring on Lavia. You want more control in the game. But Brighton were never taking their foot off the gas. They were pushing for that equaliser. They were pushing. They got that equaliser. And then from there on, it was just floodgates. And I think they also showed, and one thing that Brighton did under Hertzler was show the deficiencies, I think, that people really underlook when they talk about Chelsea. And it's that defensive deficiencies that Chelsea have. They are not imposing in aerial duels. They give up a lot of space for crosses. They don't read the space very well. And for me, those are kind of what Brighton showed today. For the 2 goals that Danny Welbeck gets, the one goal is just a great finish past Sanchez, but there's another one, a header. No one's there for him. No one's there to mark him. No one is there to mark him. And I think that's what highlighted it. Today's game for Chelsea, for me, highlighted 2 stuff. It highlighted the way that the manager manages the game when they go a man down, or when they are, you know, at the face of adversity, but also their backline. And I'm stumped. I'm shocked at a team that spent so much money, over £1 billion over the last half decade or so, or even less than that maybe, but the last 4-ish years, spending over £1 billion and game in, game out, there's no world-class player when Cole Palmer ain't playing. That is, for me, questionable. I think Caicedo had a good game. But one thing about Caicedo for me is, like, with Chelsea, he's always that bright spark. Even if he has a moment of disruption in the game, he's always kind of that bright spark for them. Other than that, I was just amazed by what I was watching with Chelsea. I couldn't believe it. And when that red card happened, when Chalobah had Chalobah scoring an own goal against Bayern, and then this, there's a bit of disruption in this Chelsea team. It's a very unstable team, a quite frantic team, a very young team as well. But I would expect better from them. And Brighton, for me, deserved the 3 points. In the same way that Crystal Palace deserved the 3 points, I think Brighton deserved the 3 points. And the fact that they were able to... One thing about Brighton is when they got that equaliser, they were pushing for that winner. They were pushing. And then when they got that winner, they were still pushing. And that press trigger for Danny Welbeck's goal, the third goal, it's, for me, again, questionable. Why is Sanchez trying to build out from the back with less than a minute and a half to go? Push your team up, go long. The press trigger was James. I mean, James plays a heavy-footed pass centrally to the centre-back, and they're just pressed. He can't get it out of his feet quick enough to Caicedo. Minter just running them ragged as far as I was concerned. And they did not let off. Brighton did not let off against Chelsea when it came to getting that third goal. And they fully deserved, in my opinion, the 3 points. I think Hertzler coached a great game, as did Glasner. And it just makes my weekend slightly more bearable as a Man United fan. But let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well if you are new here.